Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I greet you all in all your different time zones, my people in Germany, India, UK, US, and other countries. I appreciate the time that you're taking to watch this video. Now, in this video, we are going to be working on our lab 2 of the SQL injection. Now you can go on and find this lab on PortSwingger Academy, whereby I'll be leaving this link in the description so that you can go on and try it. In case you do not have an account, you will be unable to proceed unless if you sign up your account on PortSwingger. Now in the previous video, we went on and worked on this SQL, whereby we had a vulnerability in the where clause. Now on our lab 2, in case you go to a site like this, you go on and tap on this, you'll be redirected to the page that we have here, whereby this lab 2, they go on and tell us that we do have a SQL injection vulnerability allowing the login bypass. Then here they tell us that the lab contains a SQL vulnerability in the login function. To solve this lab, perform the SQL injection attack that logs into the application as the administrator user. Now in case you want to access your lab, you go on and click to this link, you'll be redirected to your application. This is the site that we are going to be attacking. And also if we come back the site, you see that we do have a solution, but we are not going to look at that. So coming back to our application, they say that we do have a vulnerability in the login page. Now, which means I have to log into the application. I'm going to go on and click to my account. I guess here we shall be redirected to the login page, and that's where we can start digging from. Now I see my internet is a little bit slow. I'm going to come back to my front end and understand how the application is going to work as we are loading to the site. Now here they told us that we do have a vulnerability in the login page. Now let me go on and open up my VS Code. We can go on and try to understand how the login pages work. So I'm going to open up a text editor here. Now if you remember, in our first lab we had a SQL query that we could use to understand how the application works. But now on our lab 2, we need to go on and understand how the login form will work. So simply we are going to have a query that we will just say select. Now here, if a developer is designing the application, we can just say select our username. We can provide a comma. We can also add on our password. These are the field names that are being called out from the database. So if we say select username, passwords from our users table, assuming we do have a table of users, and we are going to provide a where clause where we can say where the user, perhaps this is the information that is being captured from our form and submitted. So we can say where the username equals to whatever that will be provided. Perhaps let me go on and provide a single quote. Let's try to mimic and say admin, and we close that. Since we have a password, I'm going to also say and password equals to also admin. Now simply our application will be having a query similar to this. Now the table of users might have multiple data that may be sent to that, but if we go on and run a query like this, we are only calling out two field names from our table, and that will be the username and also the password. Now here we go on and provide the username and also the password, but here we've just hard coded. In the application, like a login form, this will be pressed with variables, whereby if it is PHP, information will be got from the database, may be pressed in a associative array, and it is pressed in our query. Now for us, what we want is to bypass this, whereby we need to craft up a SQL injection to see if we can get access to our login page. Now let me first come back here to my site, and I'm going to come to our login page. Now we can go on and test. If we say admin, and I'm going to also provide the password, which is admin, let's see how the application will respond. If we click on our login, we are going to see if we may be redirected, but these credentials are wrong. Now again, my internet connectivity, let me just go on and just refresh and submit this again. My internet is a little bit slow, whereby that's where I do have a challenge. Coming back to the side, if we want to understand how the application will work with this query, we need to go on and craft up another one whereby we can proceed with injecting. Depending on different characters that we can insert in our query, since the command is going to be looking like this, let me just go on and copy this and put it down, whereby if we say select username and password from our users, where the username equals, now since we are calling out strings from our database, they should be in quotes, whereby it will be like that, and we say and password, or password is going to also equals to whatever should be in the quotes. Now this is where we want to inject. Perhaps if you put a single character, you'll be and submit this, the system will go on and give you the errors because you didn't comment this. Now with a single character, you can look at the message that will be returned back. Perhaps is the login page vulnerable. Coming back to our login page, you see that we have the invalid username and also the password. This is where if we want, we can go on and provide a single code. Now for form validation, you need to put something here, because if you leave it blank, some front ends, they may give you an error. So I'm going to just press 1 2 3 4 and press enter. Let's see how our application may work. In case it brings anything, perhaps I need to also come back and comment this, but I just want to see how it will work. Now you see that here we have an internal server error, whereby it means our application faced a problem when it was submitting our information. Coming back to our drawing board, this is where the error came in from, and if let's say we went on and commented with a dash dash, it means here we want to proceed with a non-existing user, leaving this to be blank. So coming back to our front end, I'm going to move back to my login page. Then I'm going to add on a dash dash. Perhaps here, let me go on and put a 1 2 3. So if I submit that, let's see how the application will respond, and then later we can provide with any name. Again, you see how the application has responded, that we do have an invalid username and also the password. Simply this is telling us that we do have a SQL vulnerability in our login page. Now coming back to our dashboard, since we know that to comment out other commands in our SQL, you can use a dash dash or you can use a hashtag. Now here the lab is requiring us to log in as an administrator on our application. Now the query that we shall be using, simply it will be selecting the username and password from maybe the user's table if it is the one that is in use, where the username is going to equals to admin. Now in this place, this is where we are going to go on and provide the admin username. So let me just come here and copy this administrator and come back here. So if we say select the username and password from our users, where the username is equals to the administrator, and we can come and comment this out. So if we comment this out, it means now if you go on and you add on and password equals, let's say 1 2 3, perhaps you can put that in quotes. The moment we comment this, it means now we no longer need this and close. Remember, the AND clause will execute if both statements are true. It means if the username, let's say, equals to admin, what we have here, and also the password equals to admin, we shall be redirected to maybe our dashboard. But coming back to this last SQL query that we are trying to design is that if we submit our username and is the administrator, then we provide a dash dash. Now we shall no longer have the use of this dash command. Simply our command will be like this, whereby now there won't be removing or they won't be executing the password characters in our SQL syntax that the application will be working with. Now let's go back here to our login page and try to submit that. So here I'm going to paste my administrator. Now here we are just using a gray box whereby they even told us the user present on the system, but in case you don't know the users present on your system, either you can go on and brute force and see what might come back. But here, since we have the administrator, earlier we tried admin and we couldn't log into the system. But here, if I say administrator, then I'm going to provide my dash dash to comment out any command that will come before. And if we come here to the password, in just the normal way, this is useless, but to fulfill the form validation, I can just go on and fill anything. So I'm going to type in 123 and then click our login. So let's see how the application will respond to these characters we've inserted here. In case it is successful, they will go on and tell us that our lab has been solved. Once again, my internet is slow. I'm going to just go on and resubmit this, and let's see how everything will be. Now when you try to see after submitting my data, they say congratulations, you've solved the lab. And when we try to see they say that your username is administrator and decided to have the logout, which means we have successfully logged into the administrator account just with our SQL injection. Now I'll be creating more videos in the SQL injection series on the PortSwingger Academy Labs. In case you are interested to see more videos like this, you can give a thumbs up to this video, subscribe to my channel in case you're new, and I'll see you in the next video.